Hey guys, what's going on? Sorry, it's been a while. Just miscellaneous things going on in my life. Still playing, still doing all that. But did want to make a video about something that's been a topic of conversation around the game for a couple of months now, and maybe longer. I guess I'm not sure if I remember how long it's been since these balance changes happened. But I want to talk about Tremor, and I want to talk about whether or not he's actually a problem for the game, whether he should be nerfed or not, or what the deal is with him, right? So, as we saw in Blank Respawn, Tremor was used so much more than all the other cameos. It's obvious he's like the dominating cameo at the moment. And there's a lot of people who they keep calling for this cameo to be like nuked into the ground. And here's my problem. I am a literal Tremor like second one main, okay? I played Smoke Tremor ever since Tremor came out. He's my favorite cameo in the game by far. I think his design, for the most part, it represents the things that could be done to make the cameo system like at its best, right? But they did do something, and it's the one thing. It's just this one thing that catapulted him to being the top one cameo possibly in the game that I do think should be changed. But I really do not want NRS, if they're going to balance this game anymore, which so far, as far as we know, they've said they will. I hope they don't massacre this cameo, because there's only one problem, and it's just that they made the cooldowns on the ambushes, they cut them in half, literally. And that was the thing about Tremor, was you had these different modes of play with Tremor, and the cooldowns on the moves in the stances were just fine, right? But the ambushes were invaluable, but they have long cooldowns. And they have long cooldowns because they barely scaled, so you always got high damage off of whatever the conversion was. And he could do everything, right? He could OTG, he could give you throw combos, he could extend pressure, give you hard to blockables, right? That was the idea that Cameo was. He required a lot of management and a lot of matchup knowledge to know, first of all, which stance to like play from the majority of the time, and then when it was best to actually use those ambushes to capitalize on something, right? So the problem is basically is that he just comes back too fast to the point where you don't have to think about this at all. Here's the problem. Obviously, I would say the obvious solution is they just need to bring back the ambush cooldowns back to what they were when he came out. It's simple as that. They just need to undo those buffs entirely. But you can't just do that, because if you do that, this cameo does need to be buffed in certain ways. He still, like, some of his moves and some of these stances are just not that great if they're not used in the context of the ambush. And that's basically the thing, is you have to make him to where his moves are good enough to where you don't feel like you are pigeonholed into ambushing with him all the time. So, like, an example I've talked about is like this. I would like it, for example, if this were like a bit faster, so that you just had a gapless neutral reset off block strings, right? Or another example, this move is like, it's terrible for what it's used for. Like, up lava push needs to be way faster, so it's actually usable as an anti-air. And then, like, this also needs to be a little faster, so the anti-zoning on it is better. And I know people don't like it, but he should get his 50 health back. I think Tremor should be a 100 plus health cameo. But like I said, they kind of mandated having to nerf him in other ways because they kind of took this shortcut path to buffing him that was just not necessary at all. But I really don't want them to do anything that obliterates him. Especially because he's not even doing anything that egregious. Let's be honest here. He is just bringing kind of a very sanitized version of what the meta of the game has been up to this point, and it's always been the foundational problem of this game, and maybe I'll make a video talking about that, is that the ambush in of itself, while it is cool, and while it is a thing that, brings interesting interactions and creativity to the game, the ambush is this game's biggest weakness. In my opinion, ambushes need to either be more costly, period. They need to be worse than summon moves all the time, just period. Or there needs to be like some like preventative measures taken. Like I've said from day one, like if you get hit while an ambush is coming out, the ambush, whether it's a projectile or whatever, it should just stop. Your cameo disappears, the projectile disappears, whatever. But I think it's an interesting conversation around the game because it also kind of reveals how self-centered a lot of people are talking about this, because they only want to get rid of Tremor because they think that the game will somehow be magically better because they're not getting hit by ambushes all the time, when the problem with the game is ambushes. That's really been the biggest issue with the cameo system, period. Right? I think ambushes are good. I think they should be in the game, but that is the problem, is that they're too accessible compared to regular summon moves, right? The independent move, apart from your character factor, is so powerful that they just, the move has to suck in like every other way. I'm sorry. I know some people won't like that, but if you really wanted a game that was worth playing, that's what you would do. You would basically reduce the value of the ambush down to nothing but the fact it's an ambush move, that it functions like an assist, that it's independent of what your character is doing, right? But it can't also give you good damage, give you good like frame data or any of that, right? I think that would be what you would do about this game. So I want to say this too, because like I said, I played this cameo since day one. He's my favorite cameo in the game to use. But they did kind of ruin what made him special, right? The problem is at this point, he's just kind of, it's kind of chameleon syndrome all over again in the worst way, because he gives you health, right? He gives you health, he gives you more damage, and he has all of his other incidental factors, like being able to be used as a projectile tank and stuff like that. Like, just things that make the game very samey and homogenized. And everyone knows I already hated Chameleon, right? But the thing about Tremor opposed to Chameleon before they buffed the cooldown, the ambushes, was the fact that once you use the ambush with Tremor, you were kind of down, right? You had to use whatever your character could do. So, just quick video talking about this. I want to know what people think about it, but I do not think the solution is to nerf Tremor. The solution would be to give him back his health, buff the stances individually, and then give him back the long cooldown when he does an ambush. That would be my fix to the character. Now, or the cameo rather. Now, I think I'll make a video talking about what, in my opinion, what I would do to buff Tremor in a way that makes him like not so boring and like one-dimensional. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think, actually. I would really like to know, because I know he is controversial right now, and it is getting kind of boring watching tournaments where like half or more of the top A is using Tremor, no matter who the character is. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I really think that's the only problem with the cameo too. It's just that the cooldown on his ambush transitions is too fast now. Anyway, just a quick little video. I got a couple of other videos I'm going to make coming soon, including a full cameo tier list for Smoke video. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon.